This is Start, Grow, Manage, where we help entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and freelancers achieve the impact, freedom, and wealth you imagined back when you started your company. At Start, Grow, Manage, our tools, practices, and processes help you engage, energize, and execute on building a business that empowers an extraordinary life. Learn more about our programs and how they can fuel your fire at startgrowmanage.com/learn more. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to the Start, Grow, Manage podcast. I am Joe.
And I'm Jeff.
Guess what time it is?
Well, now it's about 11:53.
No, it's not. It's QBR time. It's QBR time. It's that time of the year, man.
QBR.
Yeah, it's a quarterly business.
Quarterly business reviews. I got
a lot of MSPs are doing their QBRs and they're doing it wrong. I know from first-hand experience.
They're doing it wrong. Not to put too fine a point on it, but you are doing it wrong.
Yeah, it's just wrong.
Why do you say that, Joe?
Because I remember, man, my first set of QBR is how it was. And I see what a lot of people are doing now. And they're doing the same thing.
So what was your first set of QBR?
Dude, first of all, is like, I knew I had to do this, right? I had to do this, because you have to tell the client what's going on with their network, what's happening, all that stuff. So the
point of the QBR is to let your client know what's going on, right? And also talk about what the future is and where the opportunity.
That's not what I thought.
Okay. So how did you do a QBR, Jeff?
Right. So what I thought is, we got to tell them everything that we fixed, everything that we've done. We have to justify our existence, right? Yeah. So I went into QBR with this 400-page report. I have the CFO and the CEO there, right? And I started explaining all the problems that we fixed. And about 4 minutes in, right, their eyes turned completely white. Both of them, they're standing there, right, with the one. And I'm like, what is happening? And about 10 minutes in, the CEO says, well, Jay, CFO, Jay, I think you got this. I'm going to head out now. Just walked right, just left. And there I am trying to explain all this stuff. And I needed to get to the part where I was going to tell them that they have to buy more stuff, which I eventually did. But then that turned.
But then you bury the buy more stuff. So this is what I see. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Because, people will come in and there's this need I have to justify my existence. And one of the ways we justify our existence is by bombarding people with massive amounts of data to show how awesome we are.
400-page report.
And then you bury, and then you're like on page 401, you're like, oh, and I need a 15% price increase because we have to replace this one little thing. And that's the part that, what are you talking about? Because they haven't been listening for the 400 pages anyway. So nobody actually knows what you're talking about. They're completely confused. And all that justification that you think that you've done has actually managed to do none of the justification, because all you've done is managed to put everybody to sleep. That's what you mean by QBR.
So I did a bunch of those. Then I tried to iterate. And get better at it.
Get better.
And when I got better, what I thought that I needed to talk about was the technology, or I was always talking about my stuff.
Right.
The stuff that I had to deal with with them, and that's really so it was painful.
And we see this all the time with clients, right? And the problem is that your client hires you. They hire you to not deal. They hire you so that they don't have to deal with the stuff that you're dealing with. So if you come in and make them deal with it, they're not going to like that. That's a painful thing, right? When you come in, you're like, oh, you have to now wade through a 400-page report on network viability and issues and uptime and all of these tickets that we've resolved. They're like, no. I pay you so that I don't have.
I don't ever want to hear those words again, Joe.
Right. So I guess just don't do QBRs, right? Done, right?
Yeah, but there's a problem with that, right? What happens if you don't talk to your client about what's going on, then what do you think happens?
Yeah, well, I get to not talk to my client, and I can hide behind my computer, and I can type in my keys, and my life goes on just fine.
Yeah, until the network crashes, right?
Or I guess until they decide that they're ready to move on because they're not getting the service and support that they need, right?
And that's the thing, right? So the I think,
So what's the alternative? So let's just chat a little bit about what the alternative to traditional QBR is, and why this matters.
So after about 2 years of painful, super painful QBRs, I sat down with my team one day and I said, look, this is not working.
Yeah.
We're like, this is not working. I can't go to another one of these. I will freaking literally hang myself before I go to one of these.
Yeah.
And we started figuring out what it is that we're really supposed to be doing there. And what we're supposed to be doing is understanding what their business does.
Yeah.
And that's mostly what's not happening in QBRs.
Right.
Is understanding the client's business. Right? Because then when you start understanding that and asking questions about that, they're interested because they want to tell you exactly what they're doing, exactly where they're going. And then you can actually listen to see if the technology that they have can do that thing that they're saying that they want to do.
Which is the key word, right? Is it's listening. So rather than doing QBRs, we talk about doing strategic business reviews. And in strategic business reviews, you actually spend a lot more time listening to understand what their business needs are, right? So it's all about understanding where they are, what they are trying to achieve, so that you can tie your business, your services into their business, right?
Yeah.
So that you can really figure out how you can get them to that next level of performance, the next level of performance that they need. How do you do that, Joe?
Well, how you do that is you stay focused on what their outcomes are, rather than what you're trying to do with the network, right?
And the way we get focused on their outcomes is we ask them the question.
Yeah.
So when we look at, so our SBR template actually starts with a 5 minute, and I'm pretty adamant about this, or we're pretty adamant about this. You spend 5 minutes on an overview. What are the key metrics, the big metrics that matter?
If you go to 5 minutes and 1 second, their eyeballs turn white. I have tested this over and over and over again.
So 5 minutes of this is our performance, and then you start getting into real questions like, what went well for you as a business? What went well for you? Where are you trying to go? What are you confident in?
Yes.
Where do you want your business to go? How do you want it to perform, right? What are the changes that you see have to happen from a business standpoint? And they'll tell you, right? I mean, they'll absolutely open up and talk all about their business because they want that at the end of the day. Well, we have two things going. People like to talk about themselves. And then the other one is that they want to tell you what they need rather than hear about what you do. So they will absolutely, engage and have that conversation, and they'll tell you those the stories. They'll tell you what's up with their business. They'll tell you what issues are coming up, and then then you can move into the part of the process where you're actually talking about how you can solve this. And, normally we would say you should probably come into that meeting knowing a couple of the business issues that the company faces, right? And knowing what issues that you plan to solve. And you can then go in and
a lot of that is determined by that SBR cadence, right? The reason why I went to SBRs is because I had really some clients were 300-400 users, and some clients were 5.
Yeah.
The ones that are 5, I can meet with them once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Because their stuff didn't change much. And once they tell me where they were going, boom. But the ones that were like, 200 users and adding 30 people every week, we had to meet once a month at least.
Right.
Right. And I had a much better understanding of what their problems were because I knew from the last meeting and the last meeting and the last meeting. I just had a meeting with them, 4 weeks ago. I knew what those issues were and what
you're
needed
building
to happen.
on like this
progress
is what we said.
Yeah.
This is what we said in the last SBR. This is where we are now, right? Where you need, and you're having that business level conversation with them. And like you say, maybe it's quarterly. We kind of like quarterly. It fits in. Everybody. It's about quarters. It's a nice word. So, but sometimes it's every 6 months. Sometimes it's weekly. Sometimes it's monthly, and it really depends. Like you could be supporting a massive project that's, changing on a regular basis, like if you're supporting the trip to the moon, you may have to like adjust on a pretty
have to meet every day.
Yeah, you have to meet every day, right? And because you have to understand what are the challenges that you face and how are we going to use technology to fix that. And it really comes back to how you're going to fix and solve their business problems, rather than how you're going to drive people crazy, and I've been to the other side of that so many times, Joe, where I show up and I tell this story of like, I went to this strategic review because it isn't just MSPs. I mean, MSPs, you must do this, by the way, you must do this.
Absolutely.
You must do it with all of your clients. You must have, this is critical to you making yourself sticky. And this is critical to you actually increasing your average customer value. The SBRs are your opportunity to shine, your opportunity to upsell, your opportunity to engage your clients. But it's not just MSPs that do this. So I remember once with a service partner who was serving, me, and they come in with 209 slides for a half an hour review. And I'm like, and it was 8-point font, right? Like, I don't know.
God.
I don't know why people think that this is okay. So PSA, right? Do not use open 8-point font on PowerPoint slides. Like that's
ever.
And if
no reason.
If somebody gives you 30 minutes to present, you cannot do 209 slides. Okay.
No, you do five slides.
Or one, right? Like, let's not make this about like how many slides, but it's so hard. Like you sit there and you're like, no, please don't make me do this. I have so many other things that I want to do. But when somebody can come in and say, here's how I understand your business problems. Here's how I understand where we are. Tell me more about what you need. Here are some solutions. It's like magic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like this weight lifted off from the user standpoint, from the buyer standpoint. It's like this weight lifted off and this opportunity to say, look, this is what I really need from you. Can you make it happen? And that is super powerful.
And so this is message PSA to all MSPs, right?
2 PSAs in one podcast. 2
PSAs so you have to use that ear to mouth ratio, right? You have 2 of these, 1 of these. So you got to listen a lot, and you really have to understand your client's business. And this is one of the things that I see, especially with smaller MSPs. I will ask them, well, what does this client do? Especially if they're agnostic. Let's not go back there.
Agnostic, where MSPs go to die. This is gonna be a knee jerk every time you say agnostic.
But especially when they are, sometimes I'll be reviewing their client list and I'll go, what does this client do? And they don't know.
They don't know.
And that is like, that's,
how can you support them in building their business if you don't know what their business is? And then if your response is, but it's too hard because I work with everybody who comes through the door. Exactly. You finally understood our point.
I can see you're not passionate about this at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Like, go do your avatar. I mean, it really, if you've been listening to us at any time at all, I think we mention avatar every episode, right? Because it's just so crucial. And like, it all comes back to this defining what you are. And if you're going to have a strategic business review that adds value. So I'm going to throw one other little thing in here. Hopefully we still have time, but it's the idea that it's your second sale is your profitable sale, right? So, So if you're going to bring people in. It's the SBR is the opportunity for you to have the most profitable sale. And if you don't give yourself the opportunity to understand your customers so that you can effectively deliver an SBR, you never get to have that super profitable sale. And that's just the way it is, right? You're going to be stuck in
100%.
in grinding zone
100%.
forever.
100%.
So,
yes.
here's some good news, Joe.
What is that?
We actually talked about SBRs before recording this podcast and put together a template for how to do your SBRs. And if you I'm serious, there is a downloadable checklist. Like you can download the checklist and this is how you do it. And we've got a template all set up for you and a little training around SBR. So you can go check that out. And
so you could get out of the pain that I was in when I started doing SBRs.
Don't be Joe. Don't be like Joe. Go do your SBRs the right way. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, what we want from everybody who's listening to us is to learn from our mistakes, because those mistakes were very, very painful. And now we don't have that pain, and we don't ever want you to have that same pain. So yeah. So it really feels like this should be a commercial somehow. Like, don't have QBR pain. Go use our SBR template instead. Or like, don't make mistakes. Learn from our. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna come up with. I'm gonna wordsmith that. We're gonna come up with something good for that. But in the meantime, go get your SBR template. SBR template.
SBR templates have no side effects.
Has no side effects. We gotta. Oh man, we could get that guy speaking really fast, right? All right. So that is coming up to a podcast near you. In the meantime, Joe, you have something to say?
The only thing I've got left is to remind everybody that you are loved.
Awesome. And we will see you or talk to you or hear from you next time. Have an amazing period of time between podcasts.
Thanks for joining us. And a special thanks to our subscribers. Consider becoming one right now and tap into our insights and instincts to help drive your business vision and success. Remember, you didn't start your business to feel frustration. You started it for freedom. We can help you discover the impact, freedom, and wealth you always imagined. Learn more at startgrowmanage.com/learn more.